crazy how much Kratos changed in the redesign.
I know, right?
Like, a fatherly man? Who would have expected that?
Well, to be fair, he wanted to be a fatherly man before, but he was not in the right environment to be a fatherly man. So, have you ever been told a story that made you sit still and stay quiet? A story that stirs at your emotions so deeply that it demands your attention, that if you decide to stop, you may miss that feeling or forget what it felt like. God of War 2018 is one of those games. You, playing as Kratos, start the game with your son Atreus, burning your deceased wife Faye, leaving you and your son Atreus to figure out how to move forward without her guidance.
Find your way home. You are free.
Her final request was that you release her ashes from the highest peak in all the realms. Thanks to some clever wordplay from Faye and Kratos' magnetic personality towards the gods, this sends Kratos and Atreus on a wild and unexpected adventure to observe Faye's final wish, and accidentally pits Kratos up against the gods in Norse mythology. At the start, you may be thinking that this is a wonderful story of how a father learns to grieve with, for, and alongside his son, and how Kratos and Atreus can become closer and connected, which it is. But remember, this game is technically the fourth sequel of a long-running series, God of War, and young Kratos is very different.
What's that?
Because if you knew Kratos then, compared to what he is now, this becomes a game not only about connection and grief, but also about redemption and forgiveness. You don't need to play the other games to understand this game. They do a very good job of making this a one-off title. But if you have played the other games, that only makes this game better.
Unfortunately, that's hunting.
That is hunting. That is hunting indeed.
Kratos was so nice there. I would not know that was Kratos.
Yeah. It's quite a shift, isn't it? First off, the gameplay is fantastic. Mostly. While you're running and gunning against the waves of enemies, the high intensity can keep you on the edge of your seat. You start off with the Leviathan axe, and in an epic cutscene, you bring out the Blades of Chaos, each having their own perks and playstyle. For example, the Spirits of Helheim are completely immune to frost, requiring the blades. The axe is better for singular enemies, while the blades are better for crowd control. Each has specific powerful rune attacks, or supers for layman terms, that do extra damage or effects depending on the situation. You can also choose to fight without either and go barehanded if necessary with your shield. While not as powerful, the perk is that you fill up the stamina gauge quicker, that lets Kratos do a kill move. Literally. Atreus works as a backup player, either distracting enemies or on command able to shoot arrows at enemies, either to do damage or to fill meter. Atreus also has some basic stats and abilities that you can equip that can help you in combat. And last but not least,
you won't talk? Fine. Maybe whoever it is you've got stashed in that house will.
And last but not least, Spartan Rage, that can both heal you for each hit, gives you invincibility, and does massive damage for a short period of time. However, I found the level scaling is a little daunting. I'm personally not the best at weapon crafting or item
So
management.
that's like the tortilla
Each piece of
chips that
armor
are
and
like for
equipment can
salsa
have
and
various
stuff?
different enchantment slots added to it to give it specific
Gotcha.
buffs. This can vary depending on what buffs you'd like to incorporate. Me, I just like to get to the action, and normally don't worry about it unless I find myself underleveled. It's not completely necessary to max out everything for the final boss as long as you have good equipment and are decently proficient. Heck, I didn't. On the flip side, during the downtime, trying to solve a puzzle to figure out where to go next can be very daunting and tedious. Can I just say that one thing that bugs me about the God of War games are these puzzles?
I thought you liked the puzzles.
I like getting the loot. That doesn't necessarily mean I like doing the puzzles to get the loot. So like trying to search and like be like, where are the stones? Maybe I'll find it if I look at this vantage point. It's kind of ridiculous. So not only that is that God of War 3 is more hack and slash. This is more story driven. So because this is more story driven, like if you're taking time trying to figure out the puzzles, it just kind of takes away from the whole experience.
So you don't like puzzles?
It's not like I don't like puzzles. I just don't think that in this game the puzzles are benefiting the experience. Now, to be fair, I do think there is a little bit of satisfaction of figuring out a puzzle, but I still just want to get back to the story and back to the game. So I think probably the reason why they put puzzles in this is because God of War, the original 3, had puzzles in them. But it makes more sense in Greece to have those kind of puzzles because Greece is like the pantheon of intelligence, right? But here you're like out in the middle of nowhere, right? And it's like, I don't know. It always just seems to
The travelers. Oh, disgusting.
throw it off.
Smelly, covered in God knows how many little beasties, but gorgeous armor.
Like that. The transition works well, and they are very clever about how to incorporate the puzzles throughout the story. For example, putting dialogue sections and climbing sections to incorporate more story, or placing gates in old ruins or temples, depending. But the game sells itself on high-intensity action fights, and looking for several minutes trying to find specific rooms, or to find the correct story route, or pieces to open up specific chests, can be very off-putting. I just want to fight. There we go. I just had to be super aggressive. That's all. Now, this isn't just a review. It's a retrospective, meaning two things. One, I've played this before. And two, it means my ideas of the game have changed since then.
Two of you.
Well, everything stated so far has remained the same from the first time I played. So what's new? First, the gameplay is surprisingly short. I didn't pick up on this the first time. There are two main sections. Pre-Cygnus Atreus
Whoops. I think I broke him.
and post-Cygnus Atreus, I guess.
I had hoped to spare you. Being a god, it can be a lifetime of anguish and tragedy. That is the curse.
You can complete all the same quests in the later half of the game as the beginning, so they aren't locked. And don't fret, it is useful to do the side quests in the beginning to pick up armor or craft gear. But it's all optional. There are even 2 realms that are completely optional side quests for gear. 2 whole different world locations, Niflheim and Muspelheim. I mean, it was still fun.
What level are you?
Playing it this time around, it felt like padding. It's a big world to explore, but not that big, and the story content is incredibly deep and heartfelt. Playing this time around, I kinda wish there was more of that.
So,
This includes the super bosses, the Valkyries. The first time I played it, I tried to beat them, but gave up halfway.
Impossible.
This time around, I at least tried to fight one of them. Well, it did not go
Let's
well.
see if I can win.
Ready yourself.
you'll come back to it? No, get back there.
No. Nope. I want better gear and armor. That's a super boss.
Nah, you need to stay and fight it again.
Now I'm dying in like 10 seconds every.
Anyway, I thought there was more to do, so when I finally went to do more story content, I didn't realize I was actually at the end game.
Oh man, is this the end game? Am I at the end game? Oh snap, I think I'm at the end game. I think I accidentally went to the end game.
Boy!
Oh snap.
Next, there were some cutscenes or moments that caught me off guard the first time, or completely wowed me, but had less impact this time around. I guess it makes sense, it's like rewatching a movie, it's easy to catch small mistakes, but still, I missed that epic feeling from the first time around. For example, when Atreus gets all high and mighty after his sickness, I was surprised by the sudden turnabout. Makes sense in story, but the sudden shift while making sense situation-wise threw me for a loop, and was fairly jarring.
No. He is beaten. Not worth killing.
He should pay for what he said about Mother.
I said no.
But we're gods. We can do whatever we want.
That's what I said to your mother, right before I gave it to her.
Ready. Come.
I'm not exactly sure how to end the video here. I love the game. I love the story. The gameplay was great. It makes me wonder how and why this impacted me so much.
Don't be too long.
And I think it's because at some level, it's a story that we all can resonate to somewhat. A story of loss and grief. A story of pain and suffering. A story of learning to accept one another. A story of learning from our own mistakes. And a story of teaching what we've learned to others. That at any point, we can learn, change, grow, and learn to accept ourselves for our mistakes. At some point in our lives, we don't really know the full extent of our actions, and realizing our own mistakes can become difficult. But just like Kratos, no matter the suffering, it's never too late for us to be able to forgive ourselves.
I can see the highest peak
I give
ahead.
this game an unofficial rating of 8 out of 10. Thanks for watching.
We did it.
We did.
What are you doing?
I have nothing more to hide.
Oh, this is such a powerful moment.
Can we go now? We're so close.
Boy. Carry her.